Hi, my name's Rob Wondergem, and my good friend Jess Schultz asked if I would share a little bit about some of the transitions that I've experienced recently in life and in ministry. So I'm just going to take a minute or two to do that. Basically, I've been in ministry for about 21 years, 13 or so of those years full time. And I've always struggled with balance issues as far as experiencing sort of the fullness of life that Christ talks about in John 10:10 and that we preach about, that people should have, mixed with stress and the danger of burnout and over committing to things that I shouldn't be committing to and sacrificing family time. And recently, after all these years, it just kind of had gotten to a point that I was kind of sick of it and started to get desperate. And when I get desperate, I go to bookstores. And when I go to bookstores, I look for things that, inspire me. And of all places, this is how desperate I was. I landed in like the self-help section and came across this book. And I don't even remember the title of it, but I was desperate enough that I bought this book and went home, and I knew immediately it was a cheesy read and sort of a superficial sort of thing. But one of the objects out of that book that glared out at me was this idea of goal setting, and the author spoke of, and this is stuff that I heard before, I knew somewhere from my past, but the idea of making goals and not trying to accomplish the whole goal at once, but breaking it down into little pieces. And I think this was just how God worked, but I think that was the instrument he used to get me started on this sort of new journey I've been experiencing, because that led me to write down a goal right then and there, like something that I knew I wanted to work on. And that led to another goal and another goal. And, after probably an hour and a half or so sitting in my study, I had a couple of sheets of these things in life that I realized were slipping away from me, and things that I wanted to improve on, and things that I was dissatisfied with. And instead of being overwhelmed by this huge list of goals, I took the author's instructions and just did one sort of small action step for each one of those goals. And it could have been as simple as like writing the next step down to make it happen, or something really, really simple, but it was movement, it was momentum forward. And when I got done, I realized if I want to accomplish these goals, I need to make some changes in my life. And I kind of had them categorized by, like ministry and family and personal and hobby and, even like vacation stuff. I mean, whatever was, just kind of did a sweep of my heart and of my mind and cleared out a bunch of stuff. And the biggest change that resulted out of that was some scheduling change. And so that for me meant that I needed to change sleeping habits, and I needed to change time that I spent at the office. So what I did was, normally what I would do is go to the office at between 7:30 and 8:30, depending on what the day had in front of it. And the reality of that would be I would be caught shortly after I got into the office with the worries of the day, of phone calls that were coming in, or people that were coming in, or helping staff out with their questions and all that sort of deal. So I realized what I really needed to do was get to the office earlier. And for me to get to the office earlier would mean I would need to go to bed earlier. So my schedule changed, and I began getting up at 5:45 in the morning to get to the office by 6:30. And the first thing that I committed to was I would write in an hour of quiet time. That's how I work with quiet time. I need to be alone. I need to do it in the morning. That's the most effective thing. So I actually just made a simple change of, if I went to bed earlier, I could get up earlier, and if I got up earlier, I would have no excuse not to spend time with God. Now that changed everything. Now I'm starting my day with a quiet time and starting on the right foot. And then I had an hour written into my schedule to work on sermons. So every day I've got 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours a week, just written right into my schedule before anybody's in the office, because people really don't get here closer till about 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, to do that. And then the third hour I write in is just dealing with email. So I don't check my email. I don't do anything with that at all until that third hour. So by 9:30 in the morning, I've had, my time with God. I've had some serious, quiet, attentive, very focused sermon prep time, and I've communicated with, usually I don't need to spend nearly an hour anymore on email because I'm caught up. And but if I need to, the time's there, and then the rest of my day, is used in other ways. But one of the other goals I had was to start working out. So I want to lose about 50 pounds. And for me to do that, it seemed like the most reasonable time to do it would be when I hit a wall, which is around 2, 3 o'clock, something like that. Well, now that I'm going to the office that much earlier, it allows me to leave earlier. So now I leave the office about 2:45, 3 o'clock, somewhere in there. And I work out for about an hour to hour and a half, depending on, what my regime is up to. And this means I get home at the same time I used to get home, but now I've got a workout in as well. And this is uber simple. I mean, this doesn't take a genius to figure this stuff out, but it took some intentionality, and it was my life and my schedule worked for me. So all of this to say, since then, I think my sermons have been extremely better. I think my availability for time, or for people rather, and I mean that primarily my family, they have me. They don't just have the shell of Rob. They've got the actual mind and heart of Rob when I come home. I'm on top of things. I feel more in control. And, life has just been a lot better. And I just want to end by saying, as good as all these changes have been, it's still an incredible battle. It's a battle to not stay up late and watch the Tigers game. It's a battle to still get up early when I don't have anything to do, when I'm all caught up. It's a battle to maintain the schedule, but it's a much better battle. And the difference is, on the other side that good things are going to result from it, instead of just always feeling out of control and overwhelmed and 10 steps behind. And so those are just some changes I've made. God used a crazy self-help book in fact, I probably read 7 pages of that whole book. I just thumbed through it. But that's what God used to begin a transformation of a new sort of way of looking at life, and to take some control of it, and to be proactive. So anyways, that's my little story. Hope in some way it might help you in your journey. Thank you.